I think some of it is marketing buzz, and we can get caught up in the hype sometimes. And like, let's just identify these things for what they are. Thanks for joining us today.
Absolutely.
Here at Metsy's. Have you been in?
First time.
No. Oh, nice. Yeah. Were you here in the previous restaurant, or this is?
I'm trying to remember what the previous restaurant was.
I always pronounce it. BJ pronounced it correctly earlier, but I always said high rate.
No.
Okay.
It was not.
well, then welcome.
There are too many options these days. I hear about places and then they're gone.
I know. Yeah. Any personal favorites that you've had so far this year? The places you've gone?
Newer places.
New discoveries.
Osteria at Oak and 18th, Old Town East, not far from my domicile. So,
yes, solid.
Yeah.
You guys been there a couple times?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good pizza, good vibe.
Yeah, I was really impressed because it's the same owners as Old Town Tavern, right across the street. And
you actually let me know it was going in.
Yeah. Well, jokingly, the employees wear shirts that say like this is the third pizza place in the restaurant. Yeah, because it was Yellow Brick. That's where they started.
And Mikey's.
And then it was Mikey's, and now this. And I was kind of expecting like serviceable bar food. Like Old Town Tavern, it's a great spot, but it's just like, it's bar food. It's like tip. It's like tip top in my book. And it's great. So I was expecting that, and then you go in and you eat it, and you're like, this is actually
really good.
really crazy good pizza.
Yeah, I think this one has some staying power.
Has some what?
Has some staying power.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Nice. Well, I wanted to chat with you. The last time I saw you was we were passing Ships in the Night.
Yeah, from the Old Sides with Amy Durovich.
WSU, where I was invited there to talk about walkability, and you were there to talk about mobility. Micromobility, yes. Yeah. Isn't walking the most micromobility there is?
Fair enough.
Yeah. Maybe it's macro.
Medium mobility?
Yes, yeah. But how was your experience doing that?
Doing the show?
Yeah,
I thought it was good.
Yeah.
We were pleased that that All Sides had an interest in the subject. And
you had the CEO of VO.
Candace G.
Yeah.
We had actually, she was in town and worked out the whole executive team from VO, most of which are based in Santa Monica, California.
Yeah.
They were in for an entire week.
Nice.
So we're just coming up on their 90-day performance review with the new vendor in town. I just got done talking to my staff about the review. We're finishing that up right now. So they were in just spending time with their boots on the ground staff here, seeing for themselves how things are going, what's working, what isn't. We were pleased to have some time with them. We'll meet again with them next week and kind of go through, what we're seeing.
How has that whole switch been? Because I mean, it's a pretty big undertaking to go from Kogo and all the other scooters to this like one-stop shop.
Yeah. One stop, kind of two stops. Because there's still our two vendors here.
Yes, that is true. Yes.
Spin remains as well. It's had its ups and downs and challenges, but I think things are stabilizing now. I was sad that Kogo is no more, and we had to work out some terms of departure for that system operated by Lyft. And see the Kogo stations get swapped out while a brand new vendor is launching in town, so a lot happening at one time. People getting used to new system, new company, but we've seen great performance in terms of ridership and the introduction of these new seated devices that are kind of a hybrid between a bike and a stand-up scooter. I think they're a game changer. They're definitely the most popular device by far.
I see people riding them a lot. I haven't tried one myself yet.
You should try one out.
I like to test
as we kind of exchanged crosstalk on our different segments on All Sides. I think you had noted, maybe not seeing so many people in business suits, and
I know. And you said you rode one there,
and I did. I actually meant to text you a picture because I saw somebody in the wild, not me, in a suit, riding one. They're getting.
I'm not a full blown, and we talked about this afterwards. I'm not a full blown hater of the scooters. I'm a skeptic of some of the marketing language that a lot of these companies,
like changing the mobility landscape.
And it's like, if people want to just go out and ride these things around for fun, that's totally fine and valid. Like, I don't think everyone uses them as a mode of transportation the way that, like, no one's out joyriding Coda, Like, people use Coda as a mode of transportation because that's what it is.
Kim Sharp is joyriding Coda.
Okay.
Shout out to Kim.
Yeah, calling her out. But you know what I mean? Like it's, I think some of it is marketing buzz and we can get caught up in the hype sometimes. And like, let's just identify these things for what they are.
Yeah, I think
But
there's truth to that.
You are the exception of the business suit rider.
Yeah, I think more than an exception, and I would love to have more numbers on user groups, and this is something for us to talk to Vio and Spin about. I definitely do see the same riders. Like I've been riding them to and from work. Particularly if I don't catch the bus, then I'll grab a device that's nearby, and I have the convenience of both.
Yeah.
So I don't drive to work on a daily basis. So I'm either riding my own bike, riding the Line 10 on Broad Street, or I'm grabbing a shared mobility device. My growing preference, if I find one, is a seated scooter like the Vio Cosmo, for example.
Yeah.
And I will see other familiar faces who appear to be also making a commute trip. I saw somebody this morning who I passed the other day. So I can't quantify it, but it is happening. And I think we will see more of that. And Vio, is actually providing a commuter-oriented version of their pass.
Well, here's the thing.
It's an objective.
Here's the thing. I want to see that.
Yeah.
I don't see it a lot, but I do want to see more of that. And, I mean, they are here to stay. It feels like this isn't just a trend at this point.
No, I think so. And, we engage a lot with our peer cities. And, Columbus, I think, is a member of, I'm going to get nerdy, wonky, transportation planning.
Anyone watching this video this far in is already
transportation nerd. NACTO, National Association of City Transportation Officials. We are a member city, so we convene on a regular basis and share notes. And this is a issue that every major city in the U.S. is dealing with. How to navigate this micromobility or shared mobility space. And we've had bike share in cities for over 10 years, and that's been substantially impacted by the introduction of the dockless, first the stand-up scooters and now these new types of devices. And we're seeing this evolution in this space, but I do think it's here to stay and it will continue to evolve. And cities are getting more sophisticated in how we manage them. I think we are here in Columbus, and we don't have it all figured out yet, but we're working on it. We're learning from other cities and they're learning from us. I think it will be a part of the urban fabric.
Sure. And to some degree, I think there's a lot of value in, if somebody comes downtown to hang out, and let's say they're in Franklinton and they want to go to the short north, like it's not so far that you necessarily need an Uber, but it's also too far to walk, or it's a boring walk if you go down the wrong street.
And so even if it's not a first mile to transit, which we do see some, I will see these parked at a transit stop, and we want to lean into that more. But it can be your 2 mile gap. It's competitive with an Uber or a Lyft.
I can even see it being even more frequently used once the Capitol line is finished, down the road once all phases are finished, as a way to get between some of those destinations that are just a little bit too far to walk. And whatever gets people downtown to linger and hang out and spend more money and spend more time. And I think a good thing.
Absolutely. And I think what we see here and other cities are seeing is in any of your more like convention center district type of area where you're getting a lot of short-term new customers in town for a few days or a week. We're getting a lot of ridership. I don't have the numbers on that, but we see it. You see the demand around the convention center, around the hotels in the downtown area, and I see that in other cities too. So it's a way for somebody to come into town. They don't have a car with them. They might use an Uber or Lyft. They might use transit, but that's often a little bit of a barrier for somebody new to a city, whereas
you don't know
you've got an app on your phone for, maybe from another city, and you'll hop on a device and get a few blocks away.
That's awesome. Nice. I lost my train of thought. We were talking about restaurants earlier.
You mentioned Capitol Line, so
back
to restaurants and you know, not necessarily new things here, but we see each other on Gay Street downtown all the time. You work on Gay Street, I work close to Gay Street. So I spend a lot of my lunch hour Gay Street, as well as happy hours and dinners, and you can't go wrong, you know. Whether it's Duomici or Baraluca or Tiger and Lily.
Yeah.
All good options.
Yeah, those places that have been there for a while are great.
Yeah, Domici's been there for 20 years.
But there's also all the new places, Chouette and Spec.
Oh, yeah.
So,
that whole corner at Gay and High is now super activated. You know, great effort by Jeff Edwards and Edwards Companies and investing in that whole quadrant.
Yeah, and we're about to have a grocery store arrive as well.
Yeah. The market down at the Continental Tower. So and we're already seeing all this great urban activity there. And then with the Capitol line, that'll just reinforce it.
Yeah.
We'll have some challenges during construction. So also, you know, shout out to, you know, all those businesses on the corridor, keep frequenting them during construction.
Yeah.
You know,
it's gonna be dirty for a while.
Growing pains, but everybody will still be in operation.
Yeah. You know, the Capitol line is great. There's a lot of things, you know, not to keep going down the rabbit hole, just like nerdy urban planning stuff. And I'm just like an armchair, you know, interest in this sort of stuff. You kind of live and breathe it a little more than I do. But we've got that. We've got Link Us, you know, that got funding last year, and some of that's kind of underway now. You know, there's still kind of Rapid 5 kind of lingering in the background. GCAC has their public arts plan. Like, there's a lot of like planning initiatives that are all kind of overlapping and
that all
zone in,
literally connect together and figuratively.
Is there any one thing, you know, in that realm that's like really you think is going to sort of drive things forward in Columbus in a meaningful way?
I don't think it's one thing. I think the beauty is it's all of these things that are, you know, in the early days of Linkus, we talked about aligned initiatives, which is what you're talking about. All of these things overlap and mutually support one another. Link Us doesn't work without Zone In, and Zone In doesn't really work without Link Us.
Right.
And, you know, we've got our Bike Plus plan that directly ties into transit corridors and mixed-use development and supports our Vision Zero efforts around, you know, transportation safety, ties into Central Ohio Greenways plan and Rapid 5 kind of being an offshoot of that. Our Recreation and Parks Department has their own parks land plan and their own trail planning, and we partner with them on big projects like the Linden Green Line, which consultant was just selected for, so that's going to move forward in design later this year or early next year.
That's cool.
And that'll tie directly into Link Us corridors as well. And so it really is about how do all of these things, like from a policy and growth strategy perspective, support one another, and then from the infrastructure side, like literally connect to each other.
Yeah. It feels like it's kind of restructuring the bones of the city in a way.
Yeah,
to allow for different types of growth.
Yeah, I used to have this conversation with Kevin Wheeler, who led the first phase of Zone In and retired last year. He's still around.
Yeah,
caught up with him
I saw
a couple
of
weeks ago. You know, we're kind of, the city doesn't have at least a recent traditional comprehensive plan. You know, the last one was done in the 90s, and we've also gotten a lot of critique over the years of, you're just doing more plans, more studies. You have to do those things to implement things, but we're also implementing while we're doing the planning, like in real time. And so we used to have the conversation. We're kind of doing comp planning without having the formal comp plan document. But the fact that all of these different entities and agencies, whether it's different departments within the city or different regional agencies like CODA and the city and MORPC, are all doing things that support one another and collaborating together at the same time. We're doing the work of comprehensive planning. It's just not necessarily tied up in that bow that is a comprehensive plan document.
Well, is there anything we're not doing well in the city of Columbus?
That's a loaded question.
Tim Fulton always likes
I'm
to
off
end
the
the
clock
podcast
right now.
and with a drink in hand. Tim, who does the Compliments Cast, always likes to end with that question of like, what is the city doing well? What's the city not doing well? And as we're sitting here talking about a lot of things that's going really well, and it doesn't have to be like the city of Columbus, like with a capital C, is doing wrong, but something that you think maybe you've seen in other cities that we'd love to replicate here. And it could be something super small too.
Yeah. Well, I think I'll build on what I was saying. I think what we are doing well is we're what Mayor Gifter likes to say is meeting the moment.
Yeah.
And you hear this from Council President Hardin and other council members as well. Like, there's just a recognition that we have to do these things like link us and zone in. Because we are growing so rapidly. So I think really stepping up to do the hard work at a point in time where we recognize it and can get ahead of the big growing pains. You're looking at things that have happened in an Austin or a Charlotte and all the challenges that come with that. I think we are doing that well. We are collaborating well. This region is known as a collaborative region. The whole Columbus Way, moniker, lots of opinions on that, but I think there's truth to it. You look at a lot of other cities around the country, and I mentioned talking to NACTO cities, a lot of them look at us and they're like, so you don't all just fight over everything? And all of your political leadership seems to be generally aligned and moving in the same direction, and all of your different suburban jurisdictions seem to be aligned and moving in the same direction. And it's not like we don't have disagreements, but this region is generally aligned on we need to do these things if we're going to grow in a sustainable and an equitable way. And so I think we're doing that well.
Nice. I will, just to echo that on a micro level, we applied that same sort of thought process to the comedy festival that we're about to have the second year of, kind of setting out, making it a hybrid event for us where, we run the festival as a whole through Columbus Underground. We program a little bit of it. We're like, let's reach out to like every comedy venue in the city and just say like, everyone gets to do their own thing, their own way under the umbrella of the festival, and we'll all collectively promote it. Like maybe share some, resources, make sure like if you want this one performer on Wednesday, I get them on Thursday, and some of that, and everyone kind of play nice. And these are venues that day in and day out are competing with each other for audience members. At the end of the day, they're it's like one coffee shop versus another coffee shop. But everyone came to the table and was like, yeah, this sounds good. This is like to everyone's mutual benefit if we can all just win, And so I think it's that sort of same vibe kind of percolating. It's something very specific, but I think other cities you might have more of a challenge. Just getting all the players to align
for sure
and be on the same team when they normally kind of butt heads on things.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think, from you asked, I'll try to answer your question, like, what can we do better? I think the path that we're on is being more strategic about how we grow and how we invest in infrastructure, right? There's been many, many decades of the city or the region being more reactive to growth now, and we're on this process of trying to be more proactive. So I think we can continue to do that more and better, and we are working to do that through all of these initiatives. But there's always room to grow. In that regard.
We'll learn.
Not going to get everything perfect.
Nice. Cool. Well, thanks for sitting down, having a happy hour.
Absolutely. Thanks for
Cheers.
having me. Cheers.
Yeah.